The Hyundai Santa Fe has had a pretty long history here in Hyundai's North American portfolio. Remember, this nameplate has been around for over 20 years. It was the brand's first ever SUV. Now, 2 years ago, Hyundai completely redesigned the Santa Fe, moving it into its fourth generation. And for 2021, Hyundai has given the Santa Fe a complete overhaul. And while it may not look all that different on the outside, underneath the skin, this is technically an all-new crossover. So kind of think of it as a redesign disguised as a refresh. And this 2022 Calligraphy version is the new top of the spectrum in terms of the trim hierarchy. So if you guys are looking for a new mid-size family crossover and you don't need 3 rows of seating, how does this latest Santa Fe stack up? Stay tuned to find out. So as I mentioned earlier, even though this doesn't look all new on the outside, underneath the skin and under the hood, this is a completely new vehicle. And let me start with what's going on underneath the hood, because if you guys remember the new Kia Sorento, which was redesigned last year, this vehicle now rides on the same platform, which is technically a new platform, a different platform versus the old 2020 model of the old Santa Fe. Now, of course, starting with what's underneath the hood, this is where Hyundai has completely changed all of the previous engines in the old Santa Fe. Gone is the previous 2.4-liter naturally aspirated and 2-liter turbocharged engine. Now, the base engine is a larger 2.5-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated that makes around 191 horsepower. This engine, however, is probably the more mainstream option. This is going to come standard on the Limited and the Calligraphy version, which is my tester. It's a 2.5-liter turbocharged gasoline direct injection 4-cylinder, the same new engine that we find in the Sorento. It's also under the hood of the Sonata N-Line. This makes 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers are excellent for the class. It represents a 46 horsepower and 51 pound-feet jump over the previous 2-liter, and it all goes out through a new 8-speed wet dual clutch transmission, so a DCT transmission replacing the old 8-speed torque converter automatic. You can still get that automatic in the base 2.5-liter. Now, Hyundai also offers the Santa Fe as a hybrid, which we'll talk about in a later video because I'll be getting that one to test. And later this summer, Hyundai will be introducing a plug-in hybrid version of the Santa Fe, so a first ever Santa Fe hybrid and plug-in hybrid. But for now, we're gonna focus on this powertrain because mated with that 8-speed automatic with the company's H-Track all-wheel drive, you should have pretty good performance, and Hyundai says you'll be able to tow a maximum of 3,500 pounds. Fuel economy is rated to get 22 in the city, 28 on the highway on regular gas, and as this one sits, it weighs in at just over 4,000 pounds. Now, closing the hood and looking at the styling of this 2022 model, you can see if you look at it from a glance and you don't have the old one side by side, this doesn't look all that new, and I don't blame you guys for feeling that way. Remember, this Santa Fe was just redesigned. You have that new styling element that Hyundai introduced with their Cascade waterfall style grille. You have these headlight modules which are divorced from the actual daytime running light, but you can see now the daytime running light signature is different. It now kind of creates a T shape. You have your LED low and high beams, and you also have LED turn signals. No fog lights, however, at least you can see down here. This Calligraphy version has a unique front fascia where you have this silver accent here that kind of looks like a skid plate, but remember, this isn't exactly an off-road worthy type of vehicle. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the freshened front end. I really think it looks a lot more distinctive, very Palisade-like indeed, definitely better looking versus the pre-refresh model. I just don't particularly like it in this gray color. I would definitely look at something that's a little bit more interesting, something that stands out a little bit. Now, in terms of the dimensions, they haven't changed. This vehicle has a 109-inch long wheelbase, just under that, 188-inch long overall length. This is around 8 inches shorter than the Palisade, which makes it a mid-size competitor that competes with something like a Toyota Venza, a Nissan Murano, a Ford Edge, and perhaps even a Jeep Grand Cherokee, but without the off-road capability. Now, my tester here has the 19-inch standard wheels. You can see they're an interesting geometric shape in the design. They're riding on 235 55 series Continental all-season tires. You can also get a 20-inch wheel on the Calligraphy if you'd like. I'd probably go for the 20-inch wheels for looks, although this is probably going to give you the better ride quality. You can see the shape hasn't really changed, which is crazy to me because underneath the platform, like I said, this is a new platform, but Hyundai basically kept the shape intact because this is now riding on the shared all-new Kia Sorento platform. Now at the back, you can see the taillights are slightly freshened. You have a combination of LED and incandescent design. You can see there's a new H-Track 2.5T badge down here, and even the exhaust system there, it's just a single outlet exhaust on the passenger side, so nothing too special here. Now, opening up the cargo area, this does have that power liftgate, the smart liftgate, and like I said earlier, the Santa Fe is not available with a third row, but because there's no third row, you get a really good amount of space back here. 36 cubic feet of space with the second row seats up. Fold down the second row seats and you get a maximum of up to 72 cubic feet of space. So pretty excellent numbers back here. And if you look underneath the floor here, there is a little bit of storage over there, and there's also a little bit more storage under there. So great storage. You have second row seats where you can fold down from back here, and you also have a 12-volt power outlet back here. So overall, great practicality. And if you don't need the third row, this is definitely one of my top picks. So just like the new Tucson and Sonata, Hyundai does offer the Smart Park feature that you actually cannot get on the Palisade, which is an interesting omission. But as you can see, here's the current Hyundai key fob here. To activate the Smart Park, you just have to push the lock button, push and hold the remote start button. You can hear the vehicle starts right up, and you have to be standing close enough to the Santa Fe to be able to access this. Basically, I can push this button here and hold it, and the vehicle will begin to move forward like so. As soon as I let go of the button, it shuts or it stops, and then if I want, I can push the vehicle back into the spot. And it's very much a gimmick that's designed to get you in and out of tight parking spots, but hey, it's a great feature that will definitely get people talking as you approach the vehicle. Now, getting inside, I want to show you guys the interior because this is the completely redesigned interior of the 2022 version, and you can see the Calligraphy gives you these upgrades like these beautiful stitched Napa leather seats with the diamond weave contrasting stitching. These seats are 2-person memory. They're heated and cooled. They adjust in like 14 different ways. You can see 4-way lumbar. You can adjust the thigh extender, and the leather also feels very cushy. They're heated and cooled seats, like I said, and both front seats. The one thing you cannot get are massaging seats. Hyundai is going to, of course, save that for Genesis. Now, stepping inside, you have a really great step-in height to get into this vehicle. And when I shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk, which is great. You can see here I've been using the park assist, and now the vehicle actually automatically turns on because it knows I've got the key in my pocket. It knows that I've got in, and it's turned the vehicle on for me, which is a really cool addition. Now, looking at this interior, you can see the design doesn't appear like it's changed all that much from the pre-refresh model. I mean, of course, you're going to notice two things. The new digital display here, which is customizable based on the drive mode that you're in. You can see it shows you different looks to the gauges. I really like the way this is designed. You can also change that, customizing it in the actual screen. And you can see this display is now larger. It's 10.25 inches. It includes Android Auto and CarPlay. Although it's not wireless, I have to plug in my phone. But Hyundai's system here is one of the best in the business for mainstream systems. It works well, it's snappy, it's responsive, it's quick, it looks great, and I also love how you can make it a full screen like this. So this is all very, very nice. In terms of the materials, you can see soft touch plastic on the upper portion. There's this kind of plastic trim here that tries to look like carbon fiber. Metal accents on the door handles and the window controls. They also feel very high quality. You can see you've got power folding mirrors, which is nice. The steering wheel has a manual tilt and telescoping design, offers a good amount of adjustability, and it's pretty similar to the steering wheel that's on the current Palisade. When I honk the horn, it has a pretty nice sounding horn that's appropriate for the size of the vehicle. And you can see down here, typical Hyundai fashion with all these buttons, although they are very logically laid out. The transmission push button controller there takes a bit of getting used to. You can see your heated and cooled seats are over here. You have a heated steering wheel, which is nice. Your drive mode selector is here. And when I put the vehicle into reverse, you can see full 360 camera with the full parallel parking assist, great resolution, graphics. Have nothing really to complain about there. It's all very, very good. You have stitching, real stitching here on the dash. It's a hard touch plastic on this upper portion, but you don't really touch that. And my tester has a nice Harman Kardon premium stereo, which sounds good. It's very much on par with all the upper end systems that you find in the mainstream segment. And you can see, I mentioned earlier, the seats are very comfortable, supportive. I love the contrasting stitching, but I would go with a different color versus black just to let in a little bit more light. There is nice ambient lighting over here, which is LED, which is great. You can see opening this up, massive panoramic roof that's standard on this trim. Love the Alcantara. You can see it opens up the sunroof. When it opens up, it is only over the two front windows or front seats, but it does offer a lot of light when this opens up. And that shade is a really nice thing to have as well. Opening up the glove box, you can see it's a bin style. It's stamped but not lined with felt. And overall, this cabin, while the design isn't particularly my cup of tea, I think I prefer the interior design of the Sorento. I love the fact that Hyundai has upgraded the tech along with their new blind view camera system and given us a larger screen here, although it would be nice if they included wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. My tester also has a heads-up display that's part of the Calligraphy, and Hyundai's full driver assistance tech is standard on this trim, which is some of the best ones that I've tested in the industry that is a mainstream offering. So although the new Hyundai Tucson offers plenty of additional legroom for the new generation, this Santa Fe still gives you a reason to choose this over the Tucson because In the second row seats, you get up to 41.7 inches of legroom. That's basically the same as the front, and it makes the Santa Fe one of the roomiest second row seats that you can find in the segment. As you can see, opening the door, it does have a fairly large opening to get into the second row seats, and the second row seats have the ability to recline, which is nice. You have that same beautiful quilted perforated leather. I don't particularly love the black interior color combination of my Tester. It's just a little bit too dark, but you can see the door panels here. You have that manual rear window sunshade, which you cannot get, of course, on the Tucson. Now, getting inside, you can see, stepping inside here, I have so much legroom under here, even this floor here is almost completely flat, which is really unexpected. Shutting the door, you can see materials are really high quality. You have soft touch materials on the upper panels. You have second row heated seats with two-level heating, and you have your own rear seat air vents down here. You have your own power outlet, 2 USB ports, and like I said earlier, these seats, they recline, they also fold down. You have this nice little armrest that folds down and gives you 2 cup holders, which is great. And then you can see above you, massive panoramic sunroof. And check this out, guys, the Calligraphy model gives you this beautiful Alcantara headliner with some LED lighting back here. It's very, very high tech, very high quality. It feels like I'm sitting in a luxury car. So everything that I like about the Genesis brand, pretty much you can find in this Calligraphy version of the Santa Fe. So it's not every day that a manufacturer completely redesigns a vehicle, but also kind of disguises it as a refresh. Remember, this 4th generation Santa Fe came out back in 2019, and while I liked the car back then, there were certain things about the old Santa Fe that just didn't feel quite up to top of the class snuff that I feel in something like the new Palisade or in the Sonata or in the new Elantra, for example. This new version of the Santa Fe may not look all that different on the outside, but underneath the skin, this now rides on the completely all-new platform that also underpins the Kia Sorento. Remember the new Sorento, which I praised? I really love the new Sorento. The styling of it is fantastic. This now, of course, has an extra 46 horsepower over the old 2-liter turbo, which, let's be honest, felt a little bit sluggish at times. And we also have a new hybrid powertrain, which is available with all-wheel drive, which you cannot get on the Sorento. And then a plug-in hybrid version of this car is coming out late this summer, which should offer around the same 30 miles of range. But this is the powertrain that comes standard on the Calligraphy and on the limited grade. It has 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, which means when you put your foot down, this thing feels quick. Way faster than the old 2-liter turbo with the 8-speed conventional slush box. This is just a huge improvement over that previous generation. I'm quite pleased actually with the performance. And you also notice that this car in general just feels a lot stiffer. It feels a lot more sophisticated. It has a really amazing ride quality, even with these 20-inch wheels that you get on this particular trim. Although my particular one has 19s, you can get 20s on it. It rides incredibly well. Has great balance, it has great comfort. The seats are also comfortable, they're heated and cooled. Of course, it feels like I'm driving very much a Palisade, which is a very, very good thing. It's a great place to, of course, benchmark. Now, I do want to try a quick little 0 to 60 acceleration with this vehicle. All right, so this time I had a little bit of lag when I brake torqued it, and I got 7.82 seconds. That's definitely sluggish. I'm gonna try taking the brake torquing out of the equation because I don't think the dual clutch liked that. So let's go ahead and take that out of the equation. We're just gonna floor it from a stop here and see how it performs. And there we go. Now that I took away the laggy brake torque, which really just hindered the transmission, 6.7 seconds is what I just got 0 to 60. That is pretty good. That's pretty respectable. I don't have performance testing of the previous or the pre-refresh model that had a different 2-liter turbo with an 8-speed auto, but this definitely feels a lot quicker. And the transmission, just quick and snappy shifts. If I tested the Sorento when I had this equipment, it probably would get around the same acceleration time. Even though this thing is all-wheel drive, it will spit out its front tires as it tries to distribute power to the back wheels because, again, 311 pound-feet of torque. Genesis also uses this engine. The Hyundai Sonata N-Line uses this engine, wherein in that vehicle it can do 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds. But I want to try out another 0 to 60 at some point because I do think that I could probably do a little bit better than that. That number is perfectly fine. but I want to say that I could probably shave off 0.2 seconds, so we'll try that again another time. But let's just go into its comfort drive setting here. You can kind of feel this car is definitely not a sporty vehicle. The Calligraphy model does not mean this is a sport-oriented model. The suspension stays pretty soft. The springs are softly tuned. The steering offers no feedback whatsoever, but it also is relatively quick and precise. The visibility in here is also really, really good. I love how I can see out of the front, the back, the sides very well. Hyundai's driver assistance tech comes standard on this trim, where you have their highway driving assist, you have automatic emergency braking, you have that blind spot view camera where if I signal left or right, it shows you exactly what's in your blind spot in that digital display here. And whenever I change the drive mode here, you can see the gauges also change out. You can customize how you want the gauges to look, which I think is definitely pretty cool. I also love the heated and cooled seats. The cooled seats definitely feel very nice. But let's go ahead and try another 0 to 60 here. Such bad lag off the line. There we go though. I got 6.53 seconds, which I'll take that number. 6.5 seconds is not bad, very respectable. If it wasn't for so much lag off the line, this car could probably like be in the low 6-second range, but 6.5 seconds is very, very good for what this vehicle is, which is a, 5-passenger, mid-size, crossover, family style SUV. Now, in terms of fuel economy, Hyundai has definitely improved the gas mileage compared to the engines, the old engines. This is now rated to get 22 in the city and 28 on the highway. That is not bad MPG figures. And in my week's worth of testing, this trip computer here has been saying I have been averaging around 22 MPG. So not bad MPG figures, but remember, there are vehicles that will get better gas mileage. Remember, there's also a new Santa Fe hybrid, which I would highly recommend if you guys want to drive around in something a little bit more efficient. There's also the plug-in hybrid. I will be driving the hybrid model soon at a later date, but this is the model that probably a lot of people would prefer to get with this powertrain combination. It's got plenty of power for most people. It's got great visibility. It's got a great ride quality. It's got plenty of tech on the inside. Great performance. Comfortable seats, quiet interior as well. They've definitely made this new generation, this newer one, quieter on the inside in terms of road noise, in terms of wind noise. The engine also very little noise, and feel that power there. This transmission, when I just floor it, is actually very responsive. I don't know why there's so much lag off the line. Since this doesn't have launch control like what you get in the Sonata N line, you could use it, but lots to like with this new powertrain. And do I prefer it over the Sorento? Probably not. I like the styling of the Kia a little bit more, but you can't deny the value that Hyundai is throwing in here, and they've definitely kind of captured a mini Palisade vibe in this new Santa Fe. So I was pretty surprised when Hyundai actually decided to completely change so many things on just the refreshed Santa Fe. And after spending the week driving this new version, I'm pretty impressed. Everything that I liked about the Sorento basically carries over onto the Santa Fe. And if you like the styling more of the Hyundai, this is still a great addition. And although the Sorento offers a third row, you cannot get that on the Santa Fe. I think that's refreshing. I think this is great for somebody who likes the Tucson but needs a little bit more room, because even though the new Tucson is a lot more spacious this year, this still has technically a little bit more legroom and a little bit more trunk space, and you also get a little bit more power, of course, with that engine. I love the new powertrain. Don't love the lag in the beginning, but I love the fact that you can get all-wheel drive with this. You can get it with a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid model. The new styling is also pretty nice, and really there's a lot to like about this vehicle because the price of the Santa Fe starts at $27,000. Of course, this Calligraphy model with everything, stickers for just over $42,000. Hyundai is kind of trying to make it easy at the high end. You basically buy the top trim, everything comes standard, so with destination you're around $42,000. That is pretty much in line with something like the Toyota Venza. It is less expensive than a Ford Edge, if you can believe it, which makes this a great deal, and the Kia Sorento is a little bit more expensive, although the Kia does offer kind of like an X-Line off-road package. They also offer it with a third row seat, which you can't get with this car. But really for around $40,000, there's plenty to like. And keep in mind, if you guys want to spend around mid-30s, the hybrid model also offers 226 horsepower. That's a different review, but until I drive the hybrid, I think this new Santa Fe is a huge improvement over the pre-refresh model. If you guys are shopping for a mid-size family crossover and you don't need 3 rows, this one should definitely be at the very top of your list. Well, all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe Calligraphy. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.